Greetings, everyone. It is your shaman, your sister in spirit, and your friend, Alesha here. And I really appreciate everyone that who's here, who's watching, whether you're watching it live or whether you are watching it later. So feel free to drop some comments to let me know you're here, to say hi. And while I give people the opportunity to log on, I'm just gonna go through a few announcements as always. So Anthony from GeneOhm Sound and Wellness and I will be at 3 places this month. We are going to be over at Restored Yoga and Wellness. Hey, Daniela. We're going to be at Restored Yoga and Wellness on the 8th. We are going to be at metaStone, which is a new location that opened up in Wellsburg. And we are also going to be on the 18th. And we are also going to be at Empowered on the 23rd. So super excited to do some journeying, to continue to provide that medicine music that allows people to experience some spiritual depth. So I am probably going to be like doing a mix of talking fast and talking slow, and like I want everybody to know like ahead of time. This video today is going to be a mix of vulnerability in terms of what I've been going through this past last week, and some wisdom of my guides that have been checking in. Okay, so so heads up. Last week I did not do any lives, and I really wasn't on much because I was going through some initiation. I was going through some big concepts that were really forcing me to dig deep into my own journey, into my own healing. And I really feel called to make sure today that I let you know that I have not completely returned. I'm still in a space of figuring out like what happened and what it all means, but I do feel that I have enough peace to share some insight on ego and shadow work. Okay, so last week was the new moon was in Aries, and Aries is the god of war. So a lot of us were experiencing a lot of anger. I was experiencing a lot of anger. I was experiencing a lot of just like emotional disturbance. And I had a very difficult time controlling my mind. My mind was I've been calling my ego the entertainer recently, because I love how the ego will come forth and make up these elaborate stories. Okay. And some of us will experience it. It's like something happens to us, whether it's work or with our partner or with our kids or wherever it is, something will happen and it will upset us. And sometimes the emotion of what happened really begins to take control, and we can't escape our minds. It just goes and goes and goes, and we can't escape the anger or the sadness or the hurt or the irritation, the irritability of it all. And hi everyone, thank you for joining. I'm seeing your comments. Loving all the love out there. But getting into it, it's almost like I can't think straight. It's like I can't be here. I can't be at work. I can't focus. I'm so consumed by what is on my mind, the emotion that I feel. And sometimes what we will do with that is we will blame the situation, the circumstances, the people. Sometimes we will blame ourselves. I'm the worst, I'm not good enough. We'll kind of go towards self. I'm trying to find the word, hurting self. Yeah. And so, okay, Alesha, I get it. Like, what's the point of shadow work, right? So, what we have the opportunity to understand is that when these situations arise, and say that somebody comes, I'm walking down the street, la 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 la, somebody comes and bumps into me. Excuse you. And they say, you know, um, say that they say nothing. Okay, maybe they're on their phone. Say that they say nothing. And I'm just like, okay, that just happened. And I keep walking and I don't let it go. And now I'm fuming and I'm fuming and I'm fuming and I'm fuming and I'm fuming. That's a situation. Okay, pause. Now let's go back. Say somebody bumped into me, bump, and they don't say anything still. And I'm just like, the fuck? And I move on with my day. And I'm like, all right, whatever. And I move on with my day, and the rest of my day goes fine. This for me is the difference between being present, being coming from a place of healing and coming from a place of non-healing, of having to do some shadow work, right? Because that person did not catalyst. If I'm back to situation A, that person did not catalyst anger, right? Because there is a timeline where I could just let it go. I can just let it be. It happened. Somebody bumped into me. No harm, no foul. It's okay. But if it's not okay and my internal waters are still deeply disturbed, then there's something deeper going on. And I feel very strongly that that is what this new moon and this journey that some of us are in right now is really calling for us to realize. Okay. So let's get into this here. We're going to talk about this concept of the cup. Okay. Returning from this journey. The cup is here. You are this cup. And you can see here that there are different layers to you. And each layer of this cup represents a different event that happened in your life to stir up emotions. Is associated with emotions, okay? So you are an empty vessel filled with thoughts, belief systems, dogma, trauma. Okay? This is you. And each color is going to represent some different experience. So what the ego does is the ego begins to create stories. It begins to create stories in order to rationalize these things that have happened. And then it begins to create barriers, blocks, walls, in order to prevent us from feeling these deep-seated pains that we have experienced, okay? Now, there is nothing that exists outside of this cup. So if somebody comes and spills a little bit of water out of it, and say this layer here is anger because your ex cheated on you, okay? It's just anger, but the anger came from an experience that you had. Somebody comes by and something spills out, but you're still reeling over it, then you know that this situation is not because of them. It's because of what you already have inside of you. Nobody can bring anything out of you that you don't already have, okay? And that is why people talk about being in the moment. If you're just being in the moment, then life is just happening in real time. It's like, oh, someone bumped into me. Oh, You cut me off. Oh, I'm in a new moment. Oh, I'm on a live with Alesha. Oh, I'm going to go eat. Everything is happening in real time. All of the emotions are happening in real time. If somebody bumps into you, boom. Hey, watch where you're going. If you were upset about it, watch where you're going. And then coming back into the present moment. But if it's, hey, watch where you're going, and now I'm spending all day upset about something, most of the time it's going to be something deeper that is really wanting from your soul's evolution. We're talking about the spiritual journey, guys. Something that in your soul evolution is calling to be brought up in order for you to heal. I hope that this is making sense. Okay. And I have this comment here, so relatable for where I have been in the past couple of weeks. And I'm telling you, my friend, me too. Me too. And what happened was a situation that really hurt my feelings came up, because that is what the ego is here for. It's to protect from us being hurt. None of us like feeling hurt. None of us do. We don't like feeling small, unimportant, unheard, misunderstood. We all want to be loved and accepted. We don't want to be rejected. Think of us. We're really a bunch of little kids in grown-up bodies. We just want to be loved. We just want to be heard. We just want to be seen. Yeah. And so what ego and shadow work really invite is this opportunity to realize that we are loved. We are acceptable. And whether or not somebody else can handle us has nothing to do with us. That has everything to do with them. All right. So this situation came up for me, and I had a lot of emotions about it. I was very disturbed. I started telling myself a lot of stories. Well, they did this because of this, and they did this, and he did this, and she did this, and it was just out of control to the point where I literally fell on my knees and I said, I don't know what's happening, but I can't take it anymore. I can't handle my mind. The only moments that I got peace was whenever I would go meditate, the only time. And I can't just sit and meditate all day. We all have responsibilities. So I dropped to my knees and I said, somebody better come help me, because I am out. I'm out of strength. And when I did that, I heard something, and what I heard was, I need to heal. I need to heal this thing. And how do we begin to heal things? Well, we have to make space for it. We have to make space to heal, because what I have found in all my studies, that when we have trauma, whether it's physical trauma from a car accident, whether it's emotional trauma, whatever it is, it causes tension. Because what? Especially in emotional trauma, right? The ego is here to protect us. So it's going to build a what? It's going to build a wall. And a wall is a solid structure, which again is a form of tension, right? So it's either going to get trapped in the muscle tissue, trapped in the fascia, somewhere. It's going to create a, I got to protect this here. I have to guard this here. Yeah. So we have to get our egos to calm down. We have to get our muscles to relax. We have to get our breathing regulated. We have to literally create space within us. We don't need to problem solve outside of us. We don't need to have conversations outside of us necessarily. Sometimes we do, right? Because there is not one way to handle every situation. Every situation that we are in, every new moment is unique and infinite. And the only thing that we can really ask for ourselves, right, is to create space. Release the tension, release the ego, release the story, release the dogma, release it. create space in it. So what did that look like for me? Okay. What it looked like for me was to lie down and literally breathe and relax every muscle in my body, which this is an activity that I do with you guys all of the time. Relax the top of your head. Relax your eyebrows, the space in between your eyebrows. For those of you that have been with me, my ride or dies, I know you guys have heard me do this. This technique is super powerful because what it's inviting for me to do is it's literally on my physical form asking me to create some space here, relax the body. And if we're thinking about the body itself, right? When the sympathetic nervous system, which is the stress response, is active, it's going to create muscle tension. It's going to increase our heart rate. It's going to deregulate our body temperature. It's going to do a lot of things. So, what we want to do is we want to go ahead and regulate the nervous system, relaxing the body, telling the body, hey, I got to get out of this stress response. I got to get out of my fight, flight, freeze, fawn, flood, fatigue. And I need to relax a minute. Creating space. When we create space in the physical body, then we can tap into the subtle body, which is why after I go through that relaxation through the body down into your toes, the tips of your toes, what comes next? Feeling yourself 15 feet down into the ground, 15 feet up into the sky, in the front of you, in the back of you, and in the sides of you, right? So when we are putting our awareness, not just, okay, here's my body, relaxing it. Here's my subtle body, feeling the connectedness that I have to my surroundings, proprioception, okay? Really feeling that surrounding. And then where do we go? We go inward, feeling the skin, feeling the muscles, feeling the bone, feeling all of the space in between. And I laid there and I did that and I created space and I cried because my cup is filled. My life, our lives are filled with experiences that hurt us, that made us feel rejected, that made us feel unlovable. Okay. And that's okay because you're not alone in that. So we create space for this water, for these emotions, for these experiences to come up and out, and we do not identify with them. We don't say, oh, I'm crying again. I'm a crier. We say, I'm creating space for healing to happen here. Now, I'm hearing to also be mindful of the fact that we are going into spring. And what's spring about? All of that water coming down, right? We are literally watering the seeds of our soul here by allowing ourselves to cry, by allowing ourselves to feel our emotions. Because ultimately, all of these reactions of the ego to protect us go down to one truth, which is I'm hurt. Sometimes it does come up as anger. And guess what? Sometimes you just have to be angry. Evelyn, she's phenomenal. She was very upset about her not being able to hang out with her best friend. Her best friend had to go home. She was so upset. She went upstairs. She screamed into her pillow and threw a fit on her bed, punched her pillow and screamed in it. And I took a drink of water and said, I feel better. Who is that child? Amazing. She allowed herself to get her anger out so that way she could come back into the present moment. Now she has nothing in this cup because she let it go. But a lot of us, we're older. We've had to hold on to things. Our parents told us not to cry, not to feel, to sit down, to shut up. You're better seen than heard. And our cup is full of garbage that we never had the opportunity to let go of. And so in these moments, what we are being invited to do is to reach a level of vulnerability that is not of weakness. Vulnerability is the other side to the coin of strength. It's both strength. It's just two opposing sides of strength. Sometimes we do have to be solid and firm and strong. I don't even want to use that word. Sometimes we do have to have a lot of structure, and other times we just have to let go. And both of them require the same tool, which is what? Courage and strength. So, as we are organic beings, as we are organisms on this planet, we must be willing to go with the flow of life. And one way to go with the flow of life is understanding that we are coming into the springtime and it is time. We are being invited by the divine, by Pachamama, by the spirits of life to water the seeds that we have been planting during the wintertime. Okay. It may involve some discomfort. So let's go ahead and take a look here. What are some of the ego's way to create barriers? And if we look at the body specifically through its natural way, right? The stress response, we have fight, flight, freeze, fawn, flood, and fatigue. Fatigue is definitely, I notice, hits us last because we're so burnt out from experiencing all of these other ones, okay? So how does the fight response come up in us? It usually comes up in being irritable, on edge, argumentative behavior, defensiveness, blaming others, okay? The flight response is withdrawing, maybe not hanging out with your friends, not talking to people, getting on your phone, distracting yourself by getting on your phone, by watching TV. That is the flight response. I'm removing myself from this situation. I can't handle it. The flight response, okay? The freeze response is going to be when we get really indecisive, when we begin to procrastinate, okay? It's like, oh, I don't know what to do here. That is the freeze response. The fawn response is when we teeter into people pleasing and we ignore our own needs. It's when we know instinctually that, like, I need self-care, I need love, but I know that that love might require me to, like, yell or cry, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to start taking care of everybody else's needs. So that way I don't have to deal with myself. That is the fawn. The flood is a mixture of all, which I feel like a lot of people can identify with. And the fatigue is whenever you have used up all of your physical, emotional, mental, spiritual resources trying to run away, trying to fight, trying to avoid dealing with these deeper layers, and you burn yourself out and you literally have nothing left to do but to rest. Okay. So these are all ways that the ego is going to try to avoid feeling vulnerable and getting down to the root of what is really happening here. Somebody bumped into me and I'm angry for an entire day. What's the real root of it? Did you not feel respected? Did you feel unheard because they just walked away? Did you feel misunderstood? Did you feel unseen? Did you feel unimportant? Did you feel not worthy? And once you get to the root of it, then you can also think, well, when was the first time that I ever felt this? When was the last time that I felt this? And getting down into these layers. For me, I know, and I'm only sharing this because I feel like it might help someone, okay? I love the self-awareness that I have in my ego, okay? I have it written in many journals. I know the baseline conversation, and I'm going to share it with you because it might help bring some insight, okay? One of my deepest seeds is that I am unlovable. I'm unlovable. Nobody will love me. And I know that these seeds really come from my father not being in my life and my mother dying. Because when my mom died, I literally remember telling myself over and over, multiple times a day for over 20 years. And really, if we think about it, it was probably the first year where then it just became a repetitive thought. It just became a loop, right? In my mind. It just became a neurological pathway in my brain that then just began to repeat. But for a point of time, I told myself that my mother died because she did not love me. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Because I told her she was going to die. I knew the day before her surgery. And I spoke up to her at 8 years old and said, Mom, God told me you're going to die. And she did not listen to me. I feel unheard. And she died. Because when people die, it's my fault, right? As a kid. And when we go into the psychology and the development of children's brains, like that is it. Everything is their fault. That's all that they have the capacity to understand. Their brain is not developed enough to be able to rationalize or reason factors. They are the factor. I am the factor. It's me. Nothing is separate of me, right? So this deep understanding, this deep, deep, deep core belief of my mother dying, not hearing me when I said, You're gonna die. Somebody told me. And for her to go through, You didn't listen to me, you don't love me, and you're gone. I'm unlovable. Everybody's just going to leave. My dad didn't stay. My mom didn't stay. Nobody loves me. Repeated, 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 repeated for years. And then what happens is that because it is such a subconscious belief system, that literally it becomes a reality for me. I created an entire reality based off of non-truth. It's not even true. I am so lovable. You know, I am. All of us are lovable. But I exist under this reality that I created as a child, an illusion. And it is through ego work, it is through these people bumping into me and me really taking the time to dig deep into the roots of like, what is the real issue here? The real issue is you feel like nobody sees you or understands you. You're not worthy of things. Well, where did that come from? That came from 20 years ago. And so then we begin to implement practices. Thank you. Then we begin to implement practices, okay, that are going to support rewiring this neurolinguistic programming. This is where coaching really helps, okay, because then we begin to implement daily things like meditation, like affirmation, bunch of things to help us rewire that core belief system that is not accurate, that is a lie. Okay. So again, for those of you who are just coming in, what we are talking about is the importance of ego and shadow work. Okay. The importance of understanding that your body is a vessel filled with experiences that you rationalized with non-truths, with negative self-talk, with self-deprecating conversation, because in your phase of development as a child, you were literally incapable of understanding outside factors. Okay. And through really understanding how the ego works, how the id works, whatever your background is, whatever you understand it as, then we can begin to really dig down and change our reality. Because that's what it feels like. It feels like truth. It feels like a reality, and it's not. It's a perception. It's glasses. It's an idea that it's a story, a deep embedded story that you have been telling yourself for a long time. and you can overcome it. And it does take time, and it does take work, and it does take vulnerability. And the best part about it is that you don't have to do it alone. That when we walk the spiritual journey, we find that we are so supported by angelic beings, by extraterrestrial beings, by ancestors, by shamans, by life coaches, by family, by friends, by animal spirits, by plant medicine. We truly are supported, and we can ask for divine assistance to help us really get into the root of what it means to heal ourselves, to heal these concepts, these stories that are just, these movies that are just playing inside of our head and keeping us from living the life that we not only want, but we deserve. We all deserve to walk knowing that it's not our fault and that it's not of anyone's fault, that things just happen and that it's okay. But we can't get there until we do the work. We can't live in the present moment, moment by moment, until we empty this cup again, or at least until we understand the cup. My cup is not empty. I'm going to sit here and tell you that right now. It's not empty. The pain of losing my mother crippled me, crippled my self-love. And I'm on a journey just like the rest of you, you know? But I'm here to love you and guide you through this journey because I've been doing it for a while. And I understand. I understand the shame and the guilt that comes with this journey sometimes. Because dogma told me I'm not allowed to be angry. I'm not allowed to be upset. I'm not allowed to show weakness. I'm supposed to be strong. I'm supposed to be emotionless, bold, brave. And that meant not getting down to the truth of what I was really feeling, that I was supposed to feel guilty and shameful for being upset when somebody betrayed me, when somebody hurt me, that I was supposed to remain silent. But the truth is that when we can look beyond the shame and the guilt, when I can say, you know what, no, that did hurt me, and I'm going to sit here with that hurt for a second, and I'm not going to hurt you, and I'm not going to hurt myself, even though instinctually that might be what I want to do. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to sit with my pain and sit sometimes with the guilt and the shame that comes with feeling these emotions. Then we get that deeper access to what is really going on here. What am I really believing about myself? What subconsciously am I literally living my life out under? And do I want to do that or not? Because that's also the best part about ego and shadow work. Okay. It is about self acceptance. Truly. Okay. You think you've never bumped into someone before? You think you've never misunderstood someone before? Mistook someone? Maybe you didn't see them. Maybe you didn't hear them. We've all done it. We've all been the victim and we have all been the abuser, the cause of the pain. We've all received the pain. We've all been the cause of the pain, whether intentionally or unintentionally, right? So when we come to that layer of acceptance, we get back into our humanity. We get back into understanding, okay, where have I done this? And where can I heal this? That's one side of the coin to ego work, okay? It's like, I'm also not perfect. I also do things that probably hurt others. That's one side of the coin. And the other side of the coin of ego work is, are the lenses that I'm operating under, do they work for me? Are they working? Are they getting me the life that I want? Yes or no? And it's fun. It's not fun. And it's fun. Ego work is phenomenal. It is transformative. It is deep. It is painful. It is vulnerability and strength. It is allowing yourself to be authentic about how you feel in each now moment in order to dive deeper into, okay, what happened to me whenever I was younger for me to feel this level of pain and suffering. I'm not done with healing this wound. The journey never ends. And so every day I wake up, I do a little yoga, I allow my body to relax, and I access vulnerability and space within me. I call upon my guides for divine assistance to help me really let go of that program that tells me that I am unworthy, that I'm unlovable, that I am not good enough. And I'm telling you this because I know that you can do it too. All of us here have trauma. All of us here have very overactive minds and very overactive egos that are literally just trying to protect us from the pain, that are viewing the world through a lens that is inaccurate, viewing the world through a lens strictly through pain. And pain is real, okay? But it doesn't have to run our lives. We can use pain to help us transcend, to transmute, to alchemize. We can use it. We can alchemize pain to turn it into something great, a testimony of healing. And all of you have the ability to do that within you. And again, it takes work and support and assistance and self-love. But I am not any better, not any stronger than any of you at all. So for any of you that were really feeling that God of War energy this week, the message is that it is time to soften the soil, to create space for the seeds of your soul, for this next evolution of you, to water those seeds and to allow yourself to expand and grow into who you are becoming, to who you are calling out to being, to knowing that you are worthy of it and that it is happening for you. Okay? And I know that it's difficult, but I know that you are loved, that you are protected, that you are guided, and that you have the strength to do it, because I know that we are never given anything that we are not able to handle. And it's okay to fall to your knees and ask for help. I have done it many times. It is quite humbling to remember that I'm not alone and that I don't have to do it alone. Yeah. I love you all so much. And I appreciate all of you that hung out with me for the last 40 minutes. I hope that you received a message out of this somewhere. And there was a lot here. For those of you who would love to go into a deep dive of the ego and shadow work, I do have a 3 to 9 month program with a online curriculum and a bi-weekly one-on-one coaching session with me. It's so much fun to watch people transform and to grow through these things, especially whenever they decide to make the commitment to themselves. Other than that, I am still doing healings, readings, and journeys, like personal one-on-one journeys to help you connect to your guides, to help you to connect to your highest self, and to help get clarity on what the next step of your journey is. I still am attuning people to Reiki. So if you're looking to become your own healer, come hang out with me. Come get your Reiki 1 and 2 attunements. And of course, I'm still doing life coaching. So if you are looking to really overcome these negative mindsets, but maybe not so much through like ego and shadow work, but more through implementing tools and things like that. Originally, it was that 5-week life coach that I launched last year. And this year, it is a mindset reset. So that is also an online curriculum that is able to be done just on your own terms, or bi-weekly sessions with me as well. And I love you all so much. We're out here. You're not alone. We out here diving deep. And the work that you're doing for yourself is shifting the planet. It's shifting human consciousness. It's helping me. It's helping you. It's helping all those around you. So for all of those who are the wounded healers, heal yourself, become the healed healer, and serve the people around you. Because I know that's what a lot of us are being called to do, especially those in my circle. Okay? Loving you so much. Talk to your healer friends. They struggling out here, right? Thank you. I know I'm not alone. Thank you for the reminder. And yeah, all right, I'm hopping off. Peace of love. Bye.